Has your health been covered up? Today, it's Revealing Wholeness with Dr. Troy Munson, presented to you by Infinity Whole Health.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness. Today is the second lesson in a series of lessons that we're going to be doing on helping you undo the mind. In last lesson, we talked about everything we see, we give all the meaning it has for us. And that was an important concept because it started the process of realizing that we're in control of how we choose to look at things. And we gave a couple of lessons that you can look around and say, I give this chair all the meaning it has for me. And in this one, we're now going to go a step beyond that. That if we really give everything we see all the meaning it has for us, and we are labeling things, but things can change. One minute a book is a book, and the next it's a paperweight, the next it's an idea machine, the next it is a doorstop. Everything can change depending on how we use it. Even books now can be considered bad or good. And so we're going to get into a concept of bad or good today. With the first half of our lesson today is if we really label everything that we see, and we've labeled it based on the past experience and what other people have told us, we ultimately don't understand anything that we see. And so the first part is if you look around the room or as you're driving or maybe sitting in your car, and you simply say, I do not understand anything I see. And as you look around, you don't have to label anything. You can just look at something and say, hey, I don't understand what it is that I see. I don't understand what I see out the window that I'm sitting next to. Because I've labeled them from a position that is very limited, not with the infinite or what it possibly can be. When we label something from a limited perspective, it becomes fearful to us. And fear drives much of our thinking process. As we undo the idea of fear in different ways, we're to get to a mind that is much more calm, much more at peace, and doesn't tend to quote-unquote make war with itself. And so if we're going to deal with heavy-duty conditions like sicknesses and diseases that we've allowed to come into the body because of misperception and things of that nature, we're going to start undoing all that. So if you wonder, how is this going to help me heal, or how is this going to help me be a better person? Well, it starts to belay or suppress, not suppress, because suppress is a negative connotation, but simply to let go of judgment. And so non-judgment is a topic that we've talked about before, but it's important because we technically all day long label things good and bad. As you watch the thoughts in your head, you'll think that, hey, this is a bad thought, or this is a good thought, though. Why should I let this good thought go, and why does this bad thought hang around? Or maybe I should look at this bad thought and do something about it, when all of your thoughts are just thoughts, and they have really no basis for anything. And so as we still the mind and look at our thoughts, we begin to let go of this idea of good or bad thoughts. And so we're going to talk more and more about those things going on as we go through the process. The next thing, or the next part of the lesson, so we're going to practice, I do not understand anything that I see in this room, or this place, or out the window, or in this car, or in this world of ours. The next part is that these thoughts don't mean anything. And they're like the things that I see. So the thoughts running through your head don't mean anything yet. And so as we begin that process of undoing good and bad, we definitely want to pull out maybe situations in our life that we think might be harmful and begin to perhaps reposition those thoughts. If you've read any books and where you've seen a main character go through some trials and tribulations, or even business books that I've read where a company talks about its development into being the great company that it is now, it went through trials and tribulations, and at the time they would have called them bad. But ultimately, on the far side of it, they say, man, that was the best thing to happen to the company because it made us who we are today. I can't tell you how many times I've looked back at the negative things in my life that seemingly at the time were negative, and now come from a position of understanding where, man, that was the best thing that has ever happened to me, even though it was a hard thing. And so as we begin to really soften our judgment, we now have a much more open, much more less harmful attitude towards life as it comes at us. Loving, more caring, more joyful experience, but also we see people not as bringers of unhappiness, but maybe in trouble themselves, and that we can actually help pull them out as we go. So as you practice this, these thoughts don't mean anything to me, apply them to ideas in your life as they come up. And over the next 7 days, go ahead and do those things. And if you feel like you've accomplished something within a day or two, you can go on to the next lesson. If you're hearing this live for the first time, then you're going to wait 7 days till the next one comes out. But until then, continue working on your head and watching things and watching how people and yourself as well judge things, and begin to soften that process and bring these things to mind. Until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness.
This concludes another episode of Revealing Wholeness with Dr. Troy Munson. If you have any questions concerning this podcast or others, you can reach Dr. Munson by email at chiroman, that's CHIRO man, at dr.com. Or you can call him at his office during office operation hours at 360-893-8586. This show is sponsored by Infinity Whole Health on the Disruptors Podcast Network.
The information on this podcast from Dr. Troy Munson is meant to educate the listener on a variety of health issues. It is not meant to diagnose or treat any conditions.